Boris Johnson apparently said he found a listening device in his bathroom after Bibi used it. Damn. Yeah. The thing about the Israelis and security and intelligence and all that is that the Americans don't really like the Israelis, from what I understand. There's a speech that you can watch from John Kiriakou. It's a really, really interesting talk that Kiriakou did years ago. And in this talk, he spoke about what it's like to work with the Israelis. And what he said was that, and this guy's former CIA, and what he said was that CIA agents, operatives, don't really like working with the Israelis. But anyway, going back to this Kiriakou guy, he talked about what it's like working in Israel as a CIA employee, as a CIA operative. And he said that CIA guys, CIA agents, whatever you want to call them, operatives, agents, they really don't like working in Israel because the Israelis really can't be trusted completely. And he said you'll have CIA guys who go work in Saudi Arabia, they'll go work in Dubai, UAE, and they're fine. They have no issue working there. But when they work in Israel, it's a different world. It's a different experience. It's a negative experience. So he gave an example, a couple examples of this. One example was two CIA guys who were working in Israel, and they had some kind of a file with intelligence information. Though they had a folder in their pickup truck, and in the folder was some intelligence information. And the Israelis, they wanted to get it. They wanted to grab that folder. So these two CIA guys were driving down this road, and then all of a sudden their tire pops. So they go to the side of the road, and they don't know what to do. They're not mechanics. So they're looking at the truck, and they're kind of stuck, and they don't know what to do. So all of a sudden, these two Israeli guys drive up to them, and they get out of their car, and they go, "Shalom, shalom. Well, what's happening? What's the problem?" And the American guys say, "Well, our tire here popped. We don't know what to do." And these two Israeli guys said, "Oh, no problem. We'll fix it up for you. We got a spare." So they get a spare tire. They do the whole thing, right? They jack it. They get the tire out, the broken tire out. They put a new tire in. They tighten it up and everything. And the truck was ready to go. And these American guys were thinking, wow, these two nice Israeli guys just came over and helped us out. You know, they fixed up our pickup truck, gave us a new tire. What the Americans didn't know was that as they were repairing the truck, one of the Israeli guys saw the folder and grabbed it. They fixed up the truck, shalom, shalom, new tire, and they got out. And the Americans were sitting there thinking, "Oh, this is fine. You know, they were so nice to us." They go into the truck and they realize that the folder was gone, and they got robbed. Their intelligence information was robbed. How did those American guys not know how to change a tire? They just did it. Maybe they didn't have it. I don't think they had a spare tire with them. You know, a lot of people don't know how to fix a car. That's why you have mechanics. If every American knew how to fix a car, there wouldn't be any mechanics. But you have mechanics, tire guys, and all sorts of stuff. So, CIA agents, when you watch, I would recommend, if you guys haven't done this already, I would recommend watching Kiriakou's videos. Some of them are really, really informative and educational. I've enjoyed all of his interviews. I've watched a number of his really long interviews, his hours-long interviews, and they're quite informative, quite educational. He really tells you how the CIA works and everything. And one of the things that he has said is that CIA agents they're not superheroes. They're not James Bond. That's Hollywood. That's some British studio. They're not James Bond. They're not Jason Bourne. A lot of CIA guys are just nerds who got a job gathering intelligence, and a lot of the times they're working in offices. They're not like, oh yeah, you know, Neo from the Matrix, no, John Wick, doing all the super shit, you know, the karate, Kali, Filipino stick fighting. They're not doing that. They're just working in an office. They're gathering information. They're talking to people. And what Kiriakou has said is that A lot of CIA work is just talking to people. Most CIA work is just talking to people, making connections, making friends actually with people, and acting like you're somebody's friend. And he says, believe it or not, as a CIA operative, if you work long enough, you will actually form friendships with the people that you spied on. And even after your work is done, your work spying on this particular person is done, you actually will still be friends with them. You'll still hang out with them just because you like them. You know, he talks about this. It's quite surreal. He said that getting information from someone is really, it's not a matter of just going, talking, oh, okay, he said something. No, it's going, making a connection, making friends, being really likable, making friends with this person, cultivating a friendship with this person to the point where his wife is now hanging out with your wife. His kids are playing with your kids. It's an entire, it involves the entire reality of the dynamics of forming friends. But the mission is to spy and to gain information. So he said, my wife is hanging out with his wife. I'm having dinner with him. Or, you know, him and I and my wife and his wife, we're having a couple's dinner. We're doing all this stuff together. As we're building this friendship, we're gaining information. The guy gets a little bit too comfortable. Something slips out. Got something. Got a little intel I can work on. And it's just years and years of maintaining a friendship. And he says even after he left the CIA, he actually would still hang out with the people, some of the people that he spied on. It really is surreal how it all works. Yes, I heard about the Mossad thing. You're the third person to bring it up. It's fine. Yeah. Israel spies on people. Spies on America. America spies on its allies. Our allies are spying on us. Germany spies on us. We spy on Germany. Like, there's no friends here. Wife is also CIA. Yeah, well, his wife was CIA, actually. But, you know, there's no friends. Like, geopolitics and connections between countries. Do you know what it's like? It's like the game Total War Medieval 2. That's what it's like. If you've ever played that game, you know what I'm talking about. That game goes something like this. You start out with your little kingdom, right? Let's say you start out as Venice, right? You're the little Venetian kingdom. You start out with a little Venetian city-state, and then you start making alliances with everyone. You make alliances with the Milanese. You make alliances with the Sicilians. You make an alliance with the Holy Roman Empire, with the French, with England. You make an alliance with the Hungarians, with the Poles, with the Russians. Or you're making alliances with everybody. And then you're making trade deals with all of these people. And so your kingdom is flourishing. You're getting all this money. And then you're using that money to build up ports and markets and grain exchanges and banks. And you're really, really like, thriving. You're making 15,000 gold every single 2 years, every single turn. It's one of those turn-based games. And everything's going great. And the only battles that you're fighting are maybe with some rebels here and there. Maybe you had a little skirmish with the Holy Roman Empire, but you've made peace because the Pope told you to. And everything's just going, for the most part, very smoothly. Then something happens in the game when you start noticing all these red flags in the game. All of a sudden, there's a spy from the Holy Roman Empire, and he's right near your capital. All of a sudden, you have a Vatican inquisitor who's just walking around your city. They're like, what the hell is it? What's going on here? Why is this Vatican guy? I'm friends with the Pope. I gave him a bunch of money. I even donated like 3 cities to him to maintain my friendship with him. Oh, and the Pope asked you to go on crusade to Cairo. So you go to Cairo and you win a battle, but then the Muslims revolt and you lose Cairo. And, you tried. But you did everything you could for the Pope. Then all of a sudden, some Sicilian soldiers are around your city. And before you know it, and there's a point, this is what I don't like about Medieval 2, is the game tricks you. Everything's going swell, fine and dandy. You have alliances with everyone, Sicilians, Holy Roman Empire, whatever. Everything's going fine. Out of nowhere, the French are invading you. At the same time, the Sicilians are invading you. At the same time, the Holy Roman Empire has invaded your capital. At the same time, you have Moors now invading your little island territory, your little coastal territory. And it's just nothing is working out. And all of a sudden, your economy crashes. You don't know what to do. You can't really make any sort of ceasefire agreements with any of these people because none of them, you have no money to give them because your economy has been completely crippled by these attacks. And the whole thing just goes to shit. And then eventually you get sick and tired of playing the game. That's been my experience with Total War. Medieval 2. Fun game, but it's difficult to get out of a pit when you're in one. But politics is kind of like that. Politics actually is just like that game. It is. The game reflects politics. It's just everyone is spying on each other. There's no one who's really friends. America and Israel aren't friends. They're not. They spy on each other. They met. Hell, John Kiriakou. Okay, going back to John Kiriakou, the CIA dude. He has this crazy story that he tells people. He said there were two CIA agents that were working in Israel. They were husband and wife. He said it's common for CIA people to marry each other because when you marry someone who's not CIA, let's say you're a CIA guy, you marry a woman who's not CIA, and then you got to keep going to all these missions. You got to fly to here, fly to China, wherever, fly to Iraq, wherever you're going, and you're gone for weeks at a time. And then you got to lie to your wife all the time because you can't tell her anything about what you're doing. You can't tell your wife anything if she's not CIA. She has not been briefed on anything. She can't be briefed on anything. So you literally have to lie to her. You have to lie to her and say, "Oh, I'm a professor. I'm in a business trip." She is eventually going to see like weird inconsistencies in your behavior, and she's going to think that you're banging some stripper. So it never really works out. Or almost never. So he said it's always wise if you're going to get married to marry someone who's not to marry someone who is CIA. So he said that there was this couple, husband and wife, both CIA, and he said they were both of them were commissioned to serve in Israel, to work in Israel as CIA operatives. So they were living in Israel. They were doing CIA stuff, and he said one time they leave their house to go, I think, grocery shopping. So they go grocery shopping. They come back, and all the furniture in the house has been completely rearranged. The desk is over here, the couch is over there, this is over here, this is over there, right? All of the furniture has been rearranged. All of it. So she's like, the couple's thinking, what the hell happened? Who got into the house and rearranged all the furniture like a psychopath? What's going on? So sometime after that, they go to, I think it was some kind of a dinner or something like that, diplomatic dinner, I don't remember, something like that. They come back home, and in every single toilet was human feces. Every single toilet. Somebody took a shit in every single toilet in the house. And they said, what the hell is going on? This is crazy. And they realized what it was. It was Mossad agents going into their house to psychologically mess with them, to let them know when you are in our country, even though you're American CIA operatives, we can do whatever the hell we want. We know where you live. We can go into your house anytime, so don't mess with us. Then one night, they really, really, really crossed the line. They went to some, I think, Christmas party. So they go to this Christmas party. They come back in the evening. All of a sudden, they see their dog with this bandage around its tail. And they realize that somebody had sliced their dog's tail off and then sewed the tail back in and wrapped it with this cloth. And that was it was another message. We can go into your house and we can slice your dog's tail off if we want to. We can do whatever we want. We're Mossad. And they really, really crossed the line with that one. I mean, cutting the dog's tail off like that. So they went to their CIA boss and they said, listen, you better go talk to the Mossad's guys, the Mossad's boss, whoever he is. You better tell him to stop. So their boss told somebody in the Mossad, you guys need to stop doing this. And so it stopped. Nothing happened again after that. But it was just a way to psychologically mess with them, to let them know, like, we can do whatever the hell we want. So Kiriakou says, the thing is that this didn't happen in other countries. When you had CIA people living in Saudi Arabia or any other Arabian Gulf country and working in those Arab countries, Arab intelligence wasn't doing stuff like that. This is what Kiriakou says. Like, they just didn't do stuff like that. When it came to the Middle East, only in Israel were these little games being played. And he said this is the reason why, one of the reasons why American CIA employees just don't like working in Israel. No one is really your ally. America's not, like, oh, Israel is like our ally. Listen, if America has to, if it's to the advantage of America to throw Israel under the bus, America will throw Israel under the bus. And vice versa. There are no friends. It's like the video game, Medieval 2 Total War. There's no friends. Eventually, everyone is going to invade you. And the thing about that video game is that they play games with you in the beginning. They say, make an alliance with the French, make an alliance with this person, make an alliance with that person. Literally, all these people are going to attack you in the end. Or they're going to spy at you or whatever. I know where you live. I'll follow you. I'll take you. Yeah. So, like, no one's your friends. I mean, look at what's happening right now in Japan. The Japanese are our allies against China, blah blah blah. And the new leader of Japan, I keep forgetting his name, Ishiba Shigeru. I have to look at it on the screen. He's saying, "Hey, America, I want us to negotiate our bullshit contract." It's like that scene from Mr. Deeds, when the football player walks in. I want you all to negotiate my bullshit contract. I want more money. And, Adam Sandler whacks the guy in the face. It's great. It's a great movie. But you have the prime minister, the new prime minister of Japan, telling the Americans, I want to renegotiate our contract. Since when has this ever happened? Because the Japanese are basically telling the Americans, like, we really don't trust you. And they're right. That's the thing about it. They're right. You can't trust the Americans. You can't trust anybody but yourself. And maybe even within your own country, there are traitors amongst you. Politics is a very ruthless game. It is a corporate, ruthless-ass game with all sorts of little factions at work. Even if you look at we have a two-party system. Sure, on paper, yes, we have a two-party system, right? It's undeniable. But even within these two big parties, you have different blocks, different factions. The Democrat Party, you got your typical neoliberal, who are, I want to say, the majority. But now you have this rising sort of socialist Democrat faction, Bernie Sanders and Cortez and all these different people. And they're all full of shit anyway because they all have money. They're all filthy rich anyway, but they're socialists. And they're all filthy rich people. So it's all just, different factions and all that. But anyway, in the world of geopolitics, it's there's no allies.